Hi, cat. Come and get some mango, baby.
One, two, 1, 2, 3. Self-awareness is a superpower. My name is KathyLaDonna. Welcome to Soul and Vibration. I hope the free thinkers are doing well. And if you're not doing well, I'm happy to remind you that you are the most powerful person that you know. You are the most powerful person that you know because only you can create your reality. Hey guys, today is Wednesday, September 13th, and the energies in the day adds up and reduce to number 2 vibration. If today is your birthday, happy birthday. So when it comes to the spirit animal, we are working with the oyster energy. When I think of the oyster energy, I think of the day adding up and reducing to the number 2 vibration. I think of the nurturing aspect. I think about like with the number 2 dealing with the mother in numerology, because the number 1 is the father and the number 2 is the mother, where the number 1 has the idea and the number 2 is the womb that nurtures the idea. It's like the soil that nurtures the idea until it grows into something tangible, which is the number 3, the child, the creative self-expression. So when I think of the oyster energy, I think of like the womb, and I think of, you know, how it takes time for something to grow within the womb. I think of like when a seed is, you know, below the soil, when we recently plant a seed, and, you know, for a while it appears that nothing isn't happening, but before you know it, a stem pops out of the soil. But while nothing is happening, you know, we can find ourselves feeling overwhelmed, feeling paranoid, feeling, you know, fearful, like, you know, is this going to work out, or am I wasting my time? Should I be doing something different? Someone might be considering if they should scrap something and do something different, when in fact patience is what's necessary with the oyster energy. Like, patience is what's necessary more than anything. You know, for some people, you know, you might be waiting on something to grow, waiting on something to manifest. And because you have everything hanging on the line, like you could find yourself feeling so stressed out and overwhelmed, where, you know, for someone, maybe getting a side job might be necessary to cover the bills so that you don't put all this pressure on this thing that you're trying to manifest. You know, maybe someone's trying to go to school and make certain things happen, and it's like it might help to get some kind of a side job or side thing to bring in more money so that you could allow yourself to be patient. But what I'm getting from this is patience is necessary. So you might want to look around at your situation, look around at your options and see how you can allow yourself to be more patient to allow something to play out. I think about the person who's learning a new skill, who's learning a new thing. And in the process of, you know, you learning a new skill and learning a new thing, like it takes time. And you can find yourself feeling like, damn, like, you know, I need to learn this ASAP. But it's like, you done put a few months into this thing. Like, you can't just stop now. You can't. It's like, I think of like a person going on a road trip from New York to California, and it's like you're already 10 hours into the road trip. Like, are you going to turn around and drive all the way back to New York, or you're going to keep it pushing and make your way to California? Either way, you've already started. And the best thing to do is just to keep going. Where if like you turn around and go back, all of that time and energy will be wasted. So I think about the person starting something and then scrapping it in the middle of that to start something new. It's like you scrapping it like that, you know, you scrapping it to start something new. It's like, you know, wasting time and energy only to find yourself eventually going back to the thing that you scrapped, because that's what's really in your heart. That's what's important to you. Or some people might not go back, but then you're left with regret, wondering shoulda, coulda, woulda. What would have happened if you didn't scrap that thing? What would have happened if you had saw it through? You know, when it comes to the tarot, we have the moon showing up. And when the moon's showing up, When I see the moon card, I always get the thought of don't shoot the messenger. Instead, you know, what can you do with the message? So with the moon card, some of you might be gaining some kind of a realization or understanding on a thing. And instead of focusing on the message and utilizing the message and making the most of the message, you could find yourself getting irritated and angry at the wrong thing. Instead of taking in the message and seeing how you can apply or use the message to make your situation, you know, much better. Help you to see that you're on the right path with whatever it is that you're doing. This energy here, the moon card and the oyster, it brings me to, like, say, experiencing failure in the process of creating something that takes time. And, you know, a lot of us misunderstand failure and think that failure means that, like, it's the end, it's over, that's it, we should stop, we should quit, we should give in. To me, failure is misunderstood as failure is the universe's way of communicating with us and directing our steps. And, you know, it's from the moments where things appear to not be going right or come to a dead end that gets our attention more than anything. And I feel like in those moments, instead of being angry at the messenger, which is what appears to be failure, instead we should observe what is it trying to tell us. Because to me, failure is really the universe's way of saying, go left, go right, stop, wait a minute. Failure is the universe's way of saying direction or timing is off. Direction, timing is off, or something is missing. And, you know, that's how we have to see it. Where to me, as long as you don't give up, you haven't failed. Where true failure to me is quitting. It's giving up, and giving up at the point where it's like you're left with regret because there's no more going back and trying to make it work. So with this energy here, I'm getting, you know, someone might be experiencing some kind of a difficulty. Someone might be experiencing some kind of a dead end. And when I look at these animals, it's like they're on their way somewhere. And when I look at this card, this scene right here reminds me of a scene in the background of the death card in tarot. And when I think of the death card deals with putting an end to one cycle in order to, you know, move into another, because death is like a circle. You know, death and life to me is like Pluto energy. It's like a spiral. You know, a spiral in life where there is like something comes to an end, but something new is born. Something comes to an end, something new is born. Something comes to an end, something new is born. But when we don't learn from situations, instead of spiraling and growing, we loop in circles, loop one place. So with this energy here, to me, it's bringing some kind of a guidance, but you have to remember the long game. You have to remember that over time, whatever it is that you're trying to create or manifest, it will come, but it takes time. And don't get distracted by what seems to be failure or what seems to be an irritation or an irritant. It brings me to when I was in the salon, and whenever irritating things would happen, like say maybe clients don't respect their appointments because they keep showing up late, or they just don't show up at all, I would get so angry sometimes about what's happening, and even sometimes get angry with them for doing it. But I remember a shift in my perspective, and I started saying, instead of being mad at them, because to me it's all about accountability. Like I have a role in everything. And sometimes my role might be to not do anything or say anything, but I do have a role in everything. So whenever things would happen, I would reflect back and say, there's something off about my system. Because if I had a proper system in place, then none of this would happen, and there would be no reason to have any vibes with anyone. In the sense that when I learned to implement a better system, I was able to do deposits. So it's like, okay, you know, you put your deposit down in order to get your hair done based on the service that you're getting and how long the service will take. A percentage of that service price is your deposit, and your deposit, 100% of it goes back towards your service. But if you're late over a certain amount of time, you will lose a part of your deposit. If you miss your appointment, you will lose your entire deposit. So once I implemented stuff like that, people, you know, they were invested now, and they didn't want to lose anything. So instead, it was easier for people to get there on time, where before there was always a magical excuse and so many good excuses and reasons why a person is late, to where you will feel guilty if you don't buy it, if you don't buy into it. And, you know, once I put a system in place, it's like, I don't care what happened. That's the rules. It is what it is. Like, you know, there's nothing I could do. That's the rule. That's the system. Before you even pay, you agree to it. You know, you agree to it. So, you know, then it just allowed for things to flow, as I didn't have to be the bad guy and feel like, you know, why are you late? Why didn't you show up? Blah, blah, blah. Like, you know, you book, you agree. So whatever happens, it happens. You agree to it. You know about it. It is what it is. It's out of my hands. So, you know, that's what I learned in the salon, where when things went wrong, instead of like saying it's the client or this, that, or the next, I always turn it around on me, because I'm the boss of me. I'm in charge here. So if I'm the boss of me and I'm in charge here, if something is going wrong, then my leadership, the way I'm leading, the way I'm doing it, is a reason for it. So every time stuff would happen, I would use it as an opportunity to reflect on my system and see how I could make my system, you know, as perfect as possible, to avoid certain unnecessary situations. So I feel like that's something that's coming up today for you. You know, learn from certain situations to see how you can make things better, and realize it's not a dead end, but instead an opportunity to learn. Mercury is the ruler of the day, because Wednesday is associated with Mercury energy. Mercury is in retrograde in Virgo, and it also conjuncts the moon. So Mercury in retrograde, we're reflecting on our inner world, our ability to nurture, how we nurture ourselves, how we nurture others. We're reflecting on our homes and our families, and also to our responsibility, the responsibilities that we take on for our home, families, and the people that we care about. Also, too, with the moon conjunct Mercury, the moon is our inner world. So our inner world is reflecting on thoughts having to do with, you know, perfection. Our thoughts having to do with anticipating creating something or doing something. So this is where, you know, if something isn't going exactly the way we think it should go based on how we saw it went for someone else, we could find ourselves again wanting to scrap a perfectly good thing and start over, or give up on something, when in fact it's just an opportunity to learn something about ourselves and the system that we have in place at the moment. Positive aspect being made to the moon, as it is creating a trine between Jupiter and Uranus in Taurus. So the inner world and the mind, the inner world is the moon, Mercury is the mind. Both of those are in accord as we are thinking and feeling about creating security and stability within our world. And of course, creating security and stability within our world, if you're pursuing a path that isn't a traditional path, an entrepreneurial path, then you're going to have more anxiety than most people, because there's a lot of unsurety when it comes to whatever it is that you're doing. But just trust that the universe will support you. The universe, the creator, you know, God supports those who are bold, those who are brave, those who trust. So just trust yourself and trust the process. The moon and Mercury opposes Saturn and Pisces, and the opposition there brings me to say, again, visualization, being clear about your vision. You know, we can't hit a target we can't see. So when it comes to your vision and your goal, be so clear about it to the point that you don't stray from your path, because you know what it is that you're trying to create. But at the same time, you're flexible enough to know that there's multiple different ways to get to a destination. So you trust the universe when it's telling you to detour from a path and try another path instead, but you never stray away from the goal, from the vision that you're trying to create for yourself. Also today, the energies in the day adds up and reduces to number 2 vibration. The number 2 is a very sensitive and emotional energy. So it's easy today to allow our emotions to get the best of us to the point where, you know, we give up too early. You know, we move on too soon. The day is the 13th, and the number 1 energy is beginning. It's us, the individual, it's the ego. The number 3 is our curiosity, it's creativity, but 1 plus 3 is 4. And the number 4 is an energy that deals with security and stability. So certain things might happen today that, you know, cause us to become fearful about our security and stability. And then from fear about security and stability and our emotions getting the best of us is where we could find ourselves easily irritated and annoyed, and even giving up on what's important to us. Pallas is an asteroid that deals with the way how we negotiate and just strategize and solve problems without aggression or violence or conflict. And with Pallas in Libra, this is where we're negotiating in a way where we're looking at both sides, which is important. That's super important today. Vesta also enters into Cancer, and Vesta is an asteroid that deals with, what excites us, what motivates us, what lights our fire. And with Vesta moving into Cancer, this is where we could be so passionate about our home and family, or even the need to protect ourselves and hide ourselves away. And, from the fear of putting ourselves out there can also be a reason why, we'll perceive guidance from the universe as a reason to quit or stop. What's coming to mind right now is, a person being super close to achieving something and allow their emotions or fears of instability to get the best of them to the point that they, walk away when you're close. So if you're working on something, you're trying to make something happen, you're super, 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 super close. And instead, play the long game and know that things take time, and don't take anything personal, as the universe is like your puppy, your pet, trying to get your attention and tell you something. And of course, when your pet is communicating with you, they're not going to communicate with you like another person. That's like the universe. When the universe is telling you, maybe you need to move, or maybe you need to move on or whatnot, it's going to communicate with us in ways where it's going to create resistance. It's going to create resistance to the point that it's like that resistance is going to force us to look in another direction. So don't take the resistance personal if that's what you're experiencing. Just know that it's the universe's way of guiding you, to the direction that you want to go in based on that goal that you have in mind. Because again, we can't hit targets that we can't see. So that goal in mind is a target. And we have to be flexible about how the universe is going to get us to that target, to that goal. And with Mercury in retrograde, Mercury will be going direct soon. But with Mercury in retrograde, this is an opportunity for us to become more attuned when it comes to our thoughts and our intuitions by making certain changes in our diet, by making certain changes with the way how we give energy and the kind of energy that we're consuming. So it's like with Mercury being the ruler of today, that might be some things we're reflecting on as we want to learn to become more clear, so we can trust our intuition and know when our intuition is speaking, based on if we're having an anxiety, an anxious reaction based on the additives and preservatives in whatever it is that we're consuming. But either way, long story short, when it comes to today, I'm just getting like, something is coming, you're working on something and you're close. Like I said, the road trip, you're on your way to California, and say it takes 24 hours to get there. You're already 10 hours in, and it's like you've never been, and you don't have a GPS to tell you that you only have so much more hours left. But you've already put in so much time into the trip. And it's like, what are you going to do? Go back? Like, keep going, Such a pleasure sharing this message with you. If you'd like to book a natal chart coaching session with me, or check out my exclusive weekly pick a card readings only on Patreon, the links for that is in the description box below. But please let me know you're here with me by dropping me an orange heart in the comment box below. I would love to hear from you, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Love yourself as if your life depended on it, because it does. Take care of yourself, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.